put in a standard that now evaluates the effectiveness of board members. Are you governing the institution and not trying to administer the institution? Telling the president how to do something is not appropriate in our opinion for a board member. The board should say, this is the end result that we want to see, and then leave the president and the administration alone to get it done. And I tell board members all the time, you have one employee, and that's the CEO. And if you don't like the job that the CEO is doing, then you fire the CEO. But you don't start going around trying to finagle your way into the system to tell other people how to get the job done. And it's a tough job because, when you do get people who know what they're talking about, it's difficult to put your nose in and keep your hands off, because you want to say, let me tell you how to do that. It's kind of like being a parent. You want to tell your child, if you just listen and do it my way, it'll get done correctly. They have to learn on their own. And it's humbling, but there may actually be a better way to get it done than the way you had in mind. And that's tough for trustees sometimes. It's also tough when you've been appointed to that position to carry the water of the people who appoint you. And many times that happens as well, which starts, blurring the lines of administration and governance.
Bill, I'm glad you brought that up because, I've served on a lot of boards I'm old, so I've served on a lot of boards, and
You're seasoned, Lou.
I approached every board. I approached every board, and when I went on that board, I felt my duty, my fiduciary duty, my duty of care and loyalty was to that institution, and not to the institution that appointed me. I mean, I may have been naive, but I thought, well, they respect my background and believe that I'm halfway sensible and think that I'll do a good job on this board. But once I went on that board, my loyalty was to that board. And I have seen some instances recently where at least some individuals seem to believe that they were actually, while serving on the Board of Governors, for example, they felt that their responsibility and duty was to the legislature who had appointed. And so you go from having a standard fiduciary board where everybody's in it for the institution to more of a legislative oversight board, which I don't believe works as well, and I think is a real problem.
And I tell boards that are appointed that it is tough as nails to look a legislator in the face and say, thank you for sharing your opinion, but you put me here, to use my best judgment, and I have additional information that you don't have, and I have to do what I want. You may not get reappointed, but you will leave with your integrity, and you will have protected the integrity of the institution, which is indeed what we expect board members to do.
And that brings up, I was trying to read up on some other state systems and how they do this. UNC system has the shortest term for a board member of any of our peer institutions. It's 4 years. University of California has 12 years, for example. And the average among all these 8 or 10 that are our peers, the average is 7 years. And I thought, well, what difference does that make? Well, it does give that board member more independence, because instead of coming back up for a reappointment or reelection within 4 years, now it's 8 years.